The TDE lawsuit is escalating fairly quickly, and TDE just received some really bad news today in court. The lawsuit was initially filed at the end of 2024 by two women against Anthony Tiffith and Brennan Tiffith. If you guys don't know these two, this is Musa and his brother. They're both sons of Top, who is the owner of TDE. The two women are suing TDE and the sons for $48 million, citing workplace harassment, sexual harassment, and among other things, there's a slew of allegations. Now, in response to these two women filing this lawsuit and accusing TDE and the sons of doing these things, the lawyer for TDE, Marty Singer, responded back, issued a statement to Double XL. Now, when they issued a statement, the two women were filing under Jane Doe, so their name were not public. However, in their response to these two women, the lawyers revealed their name and their identity to the public. The statement has since been redacted to not include the women name due to the legal ramifications that came from them releasing the women name to the public. But the statement states this is a clear example of a shakedown lawsuit by the women. Originally, they listed their names, who made a demand of $48 million through their attorneys on fabricated claims, and whose attorney are looking for their 10 minutes of fame. There are text messages and communications that totally refute these baseless claims. Additionally, the women were never employees of Top Dog Entertainment. We are confident that we will prevail in this action. On top of the original allegations, the women added an additional charge, doxing, because of that particular statement, because they released their names to the public, even though they filed under Jane Doe. Now, when it comes to names being anonymous, bro, I'm usually on the opposite side of things. From my perspective, bro, if these people are filing lawsuits against celebrities, I'm not speaking regarding the TDE lawsuit specifically, I'm speaking in general. People will file lawsuits against celebrities, accusing them of the worst, and then they will file under anonymous. So even if these claims are false and they are lies, the celebrity takes all the hit. The celebrity gets his reputation ruined, even if they're innocent. And the person who's filing the lawsuit, well, they go back to their regular scheduled programming after lying on that person if their lawsuit come out to be a lie. So to me, it's always tricky. If people are allowed to file lawsuits accusing you of the worst, and they get to remain anonymous, then what are the consequences for someone lying on you? In response to their claim she was never an employee, so she can't claim workplace harassment or harassment by an employer, she released messages between her and TDE President Musa where they're discussing her coming on board officially as a member of TDE. So the conversation goes, okay, are you ready to bring me on board? LOL. But everything is cool. I actually ran into Brandon at Quavo event because I was a part of the team that put it together. Musa responded back, yes, let's sit and talk. Now, apparently, this conversation led to her being brought on board officially. And it continues, she's so young and fresh. I want you to come on board officially if you think you can help connect her with the right brands and get the right looks for her. She responded back, yes, let's discuss. Is she a new TDE artist? He responded back, yes, she's new to the team. We're going to build her own fan base first, then announce her. She also showed a group chat between TDE and Rolling Stone where TDE will present her as their PR. Now, Musa will respond back, or this is somebody from TDE, not Musa. This is Matt Miller. He responded back, Linda, I have Baker here from Dash Radio. He wanted to do a live thing with Zay, but since we are more focusing on Reason at the moment, I told him to get with you about possibly doing it with Reason. Baker, this is Linda. She handles our PR. Now, Rolling Stone responded back, thanks, Matt, hey, Linda, and they scheduled the thing. She would also show that she had an official TDE email as well. So she was, at the very least, a part of the team. She was handling PR for TDE. She would also show messages that when it was time for her to get paid for services that she delivered, it was always a hassle getting payment from TDE. So she showed on one message, she says, do you have my check? I know you said it will be ready on Monday. He says, LOL, hey, good morning to you too, Linda. She says, I'm not laughing. He says, I'm not either. You just never said hello. And then he says, why don't you ask me if I'm okay? You know anything I've been through this week? None. Honestly, I don't know why she will continue to work, because if the first time I asked you for my money, man, and that's how you coming, LOL, you didn't even say hello to me, come on. when you start moving like that evasive, bruh, and start moving like you don't want to pay me, after I get my money from you the first time, I'm done. I'm not about to try to work and struggle to get paid a second time and a third time, but she stayed. Now, he would eventually pay for the original services and services after that, but it was always a really huge hassle to get her money. Just seeing how much she needed the money will sort of lend credibility to why she stayed after what would appear to be an attempted grape. So these men, by the way, are innocent. They're innocent until they're proven guilty in a court of law. So these are just mere accusations. But this is Brandon on your left, this is Moose's brother, and this is Linda Luna on your right. Now, she will claim that there was a situation where she and Brandon was chilling one night and he tried to grape her. So here is what she would describe as a series of events that night. She would claim that even though she was an employee for TDE, that Brandon would still text her inappropriate things, such as on June 18th of 2020, Brandon would text her a photograph of a man grabbing a woman by her ponytail from behind while she was bent over in a compromising position. On January 7th of 2021, she would also claim that Brandon would text her a cartoon of a woman with exaggerated buttocks with the caption reading "Big Booty Latina, two tears of joy emojis." On January 8th of 2021, this is where she would claim the incident took place. A day after Brandon texted her that picture of the big booty Latina, on January 8th, she would claim that she was invited for lunch to discuss her services at TDE and how she was being unpaid, and also services for artist A, in whom she was working with, who was living in her house at the time. So she complied. She went to the dinner to probably discuss her compensation and why she wasn't getting paid. Now, while there, she drank liquor, she drank alcohol, and she got a tad bit drunk. Now, when they returned back to Brennan's crib, apparently he told her, hop in the whip, let's smoke. She don't smoke, but he apparently still wanted her to be in the vehicle with him. So he's smoking, hotboxing, and she's there. Now, according to her, she's already drunk, so now she's getting contact high. She began to get dizzy from the prolonged exposure to secondhand smoke. Now, once she began to feel dizzy, she asked to lie down before she was ready to drive home. So Brandon assisted Linda to a room to rest where she laid down on the bed. Brandon apparently left. However, he will later return according to her. Now, before Brandon allegedly re-entered the room, Linda will claim that she heard his cousin Ron, who was also in the residence at the time, remarked, "This is not going to end well, B." Now, Brandon allegedly entered the room and laid down next to Linda. Now, according to Linda, he attempted to remove her clothing, partially pulling down her pants and undergarments and attempting to forcibly kiss her. Now, Linda would say that she objected to this, stating, "Brandon, what are you doing?" Brennan would allegedly reply back, "Come on, Linda, you know this was bound to happen." Now, while under the influence of alcohol and secondhand marijuana, apparently Linda was slow to react as Brandon removed his penis from his pants. As she realized what was happening, she attempted to push him away, according to her. As she struggled to get up, Brandon would allegedly grab her by the head and forced her mouth towards his love muscle, his penis. As his penis contacted her, she feigned sickness, as if she were about to vomit due to the alcohol. At this point, she would claim that Brandon released her, and this is when Linda would escape into the restroom. And in the restroom, Linda would collect herself and then immediately left the residence to drive home. As she left, she would claim that Brandon shouted to her, tell him how traffic was. She texted him afterwards, apparently. So she says, "You and I talked the next day, and I told you that I had not been drunk. That would have not happened. You know that I was seeing blank." So apparently she was seeing one of their associates, and I liked him a lot. You know you were trying to have egg with me, and I didn't want to, and we didn't have egg. I wasn't comfortable with what happened, but I wanted to let it go. So apparently she was already seeing one of their friends, and she liked him a lot. And due to this particular incident, their friend left her because the rumors began to get around that her and Brandon slept together, when she claimed, "No, we didn't sleep together. He tried, but I was really drunk and I left." This happened in 2021, and apparently she didn't stop working for TDE after this. She continued to work for TDE because at this point, I believe they were offering her an opportunity to manage one of the artists. But nonetheless, bruh, if this happens after 2 years of me still chasing money, not really getting paid, trying to figure out how I can get paid, I understand TDE is like a big label, but if I'm barely getting paid at TDE and this happens, I feel like that right there is my exit to leave. So her staying to me is definitely a red flag. But when you look at the messages, it feels like she was kind of being strung along in terms of her compensation. So I can't really blame her for not leaving after not getting paid because it kind of felt like they were telling her, yo, you'll get paid, relax, what you worrying about? On another message, she says, hey, good morning. Can I get that money you owe me today, please? And also, what's the update on the Empire check? And then she wrote him again. I told him my car last night. Now he's responding back, damn, you good? She says, so you need to get that money. I need to get that money from you so I can use it towards my deductible with my insurance. So, she had to work really hard to get paid for any service that she ever gave. If the lawsuit stops here, I think they may have a case for a breach of contract and at least one of the claims in their lawsuit. Now, is this $48 million worth of pain and suffering? Probably not, but it would at least satisfy at least one of the clauses in the lawsuit, which is breach of contract. They're officially suing on these particular counts: SA harassment, battery, assault, negligence, breach of contract, and then a new charge, which is doxing, due to them releasing a statement releasing their name to the public. To further solidify Linda Luna's claim for breach of contract, she'll release messages that show that her and TDE came to an agreement where artist a TDE artist, they don't name the artist, will live in her house and TDE will pay them rent and other expenses. However, when the artist moved in, she didn't receive $1 from TDE. And she showed messages where she's letting them know, hey, bro, your artist is living there rent free. He's eating up all the food. Where is my compensation? You can see her literally pleading, bro, because it feels like she really needs the money. She's writing, bro, we need to sit down and talk because this is my 5th time buying groceries this past month and my bills just came in. And of course, the light bill is higher, but I'm not like mad, but I need you to be mindful and considerate of what I'm picking up over here for you. Artist A can eat a whole bag of chips and a whole bottle of snacks in the same day, so I have to go back and buy groceries like every few days. This is not cool that you keep saying you're gonna give me money, but every time something happens where I don't hear from you and we don't connect because you always end up and doing something else, you should be more considerate by stopping by and giving me the money or a cash app or something to me. It's not cool that I have to feel like I'm chasing money and you make me feel liable to collect it. You should be doing that. And she writes him, hey, Musa, I need to get this money that you owe me from the work I did. And also for artist A, I've got a lot on my plate. So she's literally begging. And, she's not getting paid for none of what she's doing. Can you imagine having somebody move into your house, taking on the burden of having another mouth to feed in your home, and the person ain't paying rent, ain't paying no bills, no light bill, no nothing, groceries, and they are a fully grown adult? Breach of contract, she got it, bro. I feel like breach of contract is a done deal, signed and delivered. So let's just move on to the other claims that are a little bit more sinister. Now, there's multiple defendants here, multiple plaintiffs, so I'm gonna organize it as best as possible for you guys, okay? So the next claims is harassment. October 30th of 2019, she would claim something happened that was inappropriate. Now, this right here will highlight why working with women is very scary, okay? So she claims that Anthony Tiffith, now this is Musa, by the way, Musa came over to Linda Luna's home. Now, she claims they shared a consensual kiss. So the kiss was consensual. However, after the kiss, he made an inappropriate sexual comment towards her, and he stated, Linda, I would put a baby in you right now. Now, according to her, because she was an employee of TDE and doing work for them, that comment is harassment. But the kiss ain't harassment. The kiss is cool. The kiss is consensual, but the comment is harassment. Oh my, bro, working with women is scary, bro. All right, it's scary. Now, she claims she laughed off the comment and no romantic relationship developed, but the comment is framed as part of, I guess, Musa's pattern of inappropriate conduct. And for reference, Musa is on your left, Brandon is on your right. Brandon also got his share of harassment in, according to Linda Luna. Now, she will say May of 22nd of 2020, She texted Brandon, for him to hit her about some business, with an artist. And Brandon texted her back, I will hit you after I finish getting this head, LOL. Now, obviously, we are adults. We know what head means, but this is not something you would text to an employee or somebody who's working with you in an employee capacity, even if they are an independent contractor. From my perspective, it got to a point where they began to view her as the homegirl because Musa was allegedly bringing chicks over to her home to smash, telling her to go upstairs while he smashed the chicks downstairs. So it felt like, they were moving like, you the homie now, right? You part of the crew, you the homie, you doing work for us. We kind of got the payment issues probably out the way just a tad bit, or at least made you comfortable with continuing to work for us. They viewed her as the homie, but whole time she is an employee, or at least somebody who was doing work under the capacity of an employee. That's important because the law considered that the same. Musa wanted to reach Willie Norwood, who's a vocal coach for one of the artists, but he DM'd him, he couldn't get a response. So Linda DM'd him and she got a response back fairly quickly. So then Musa responded back was, Ninja left me on red. Them titties get access. I just learned something new. She responded back, first of all, he's never seen me or met me, so don't even try it, LOL. We need to set up the mic and speakers here at the house. It is literally just sitting here by the front door. He responded back, he went down that page. Trust me, saw that face, booty, and titties. Yes. Now, this is very well normal conversation when it comes to black folks, especially a homie conversation. But when you working in the capacity of an employee, these conversations gonna cost you $48 million. But the thing is, it's not even like she's entertaining these conversations. If I'm him, I would have got the message, bro. I would have cut it out. I would have stopped treating this chick like a friend. Cause she responded back, what are you talking about? I called him. I didn't message them. Some people do have some decency and respect. So she started using trigger word. Trigger words like that, I already know a lawsuit coming, bro. I'm good. I'm straight, bro. All right. I would start considering you like an employee at that point, but they didn't get the message, bro. All right. They kept going. Honestly, outside of the consensual kiss that she claimed she shared with Musa, it feels like she was on some professional, I want to work. It felt like it was the opposite from Musa because, she showed messages from their first interaction. And from their first interaction, he was telling her he was scared to work with her because she was too attractive. She writes Musa, hey, Musa, I hope you had a great Christmas. We have to finally link up and work together in 2019, LOL. He responded back, we do. She says, yas, let's make it happen, Captain. He responded back, you just too fine, LOL. Scared to work with you for real though. Man, he should have used his first inkling. He should have used his first instance, bro. Listen, he was right. She was maybe too fine for him to work with her. He was too attracted to her to really have a employee relationship. So she responded back, so I have to be overweight and unattractive to work with the hate makers? She responded back, LOL, unattractive works best. Musa will also send her a picture of her and her friend, and he will ask, who's this? And she responded back with, me familiar. Man, Musa said, hey, listen, bro, if I can't crack you, I got to crack at least one of your friends, bro. Bro, what am I barely paying you for? and he responded back, she bad, hook me up. She said, no, right? He said, why? She gave a very good reason why. You have a whole wife at home. Why would I do that to her? She would claim that she has receipts of Musa mid-2020 sending her a video of two individuals engaging in intercourse, which was unconsented and unwanted. She claims she never asked him to send this, which to me, this is textbook harassment, to be honest. If she was an employee, even if you feel like she's a goer, right? Even if you feel like, man, bro, she a goer, bro. Man, she's just plain hard to get. You don't go about it this way, bro. And you don't do it in text where she got the proof. Oh, nah, this sounds like $48 million is gone. We're past the 18-minute mark, and that's just Linda's accusation. We still have a whole nother woman we got to talk about called Ayala. So Aya on your left is actually friends with Alameda, which is a TDE artist. Now, she apparently moved to California to be moral support for Alameda, and they was living in the same home that was provided by TDE. Now, she would claim that while in the home, she had a very bad interaction with Brandon at the home. She would claim that near the end of 2020, an individual affiliated with TDE, who she would refer to as B Dog, which is Brandon, now she would claim that he allegedly approached her from behind in the kitchen and without her consent rubbed his erected genitalia against her buttocks. He repeated this conduct on one other occasion. On information and belief, TDE was aware of the incident but took no action. On another occasion, she would claim that January 2021, she was also SA'd by another member of TDE called David Harrell. Now, she would claim January of 2021, David Harrell, a TDE affiliated individual, drove her to a studio but stopped at his apartment. Now, he pressured her to drink a shot despite her being under 21 years old, and then SA'd her by pulling her onto his lap, touching her inappropriately, removing her pants, and throwing her onto his bed. Now, she claims that the shot he gave her like made her like super dizzy and she was like out of her mind. But she escaped and ran to a convenience store suspecting that she was drugged. Now, TDE was informed but allowed Harrell to continue working around Atira, who then cut ties with TDE. Now, she claims that she has proof of her notifying TDE of this. She would claim, now this is the most interesting part. She would claim that Almeida, the female on TDE, she would claim that another artist who they describe as Artist I made unwanted sexual overtures towards Artist A, including attempting to break into her room. We don't know who Artist I is. We can only speculate by looking at the roster, but this is insane. I don't know what the truth is, but my stance is always going to be my stance. People are innocent until proven guilty, but this looked bad. These things look like these are two different women who really didn't have any type of intersection when they was at TDE, and they both have similar stories. So altogether is horrible and is bad. Now, TDE did respond back to this lawsuit. Now, their response to me was lackluster because they really didn't address the other things. They was just shooting to dismiss or strike the sixth claim from the lawsuit, which was the doxing. Now, their response to being an excuse of doxing. Now, again, they didn't address none of the other stuff. They just addressed the doxing. I would think, you filed a motion to dismiss this entire thing if it's unequivocally false, but no. So they filed a motion to strike the doxing, and it they had a point, I guess, but to me, using the anti-slap law doesn't really work here because the anti-slap law is essentially saying you're only suing me for this because you want to shut me up. TDE is a multi-million dollar, maybe $1 billion entity. I don't feel like two women are suing TDE to silence them or to intimidate them. TDE would claim that their statement does not constitute doxing under California's civil code. The defendants argue that their statement does not meet the legal definition of doxing, which requires intent to cause fear for safety and likelihood to incite physical violence or harassment by third parties. The statement was a response to plaintiff's press release aimed at correcting false claims, not inciting harm, and cannot reasonably be interpreted as intending to cause harm. They will claim that their statement releasing the female names is protected under the anti-slap statute, where their statements are protected under California Code of Civil Procedure. And the defendants are arguing that the doxing claims arises from their public statement made on February 1st, 2025. And those statements are apparently protected. If we're being honest here, there is an argument to be made that the TDE fan base is a cult following and that releasing these women names in your public statement, because they filed as Jane Doe, they filed anonymous. Now, I'm under, the idea that people who file anonymous, it's not really fair because you are accusing these people of the most heinous crimes, and if you do go to court and they get found not guilty, you get to live your life normally while they still have the stigma of those accusations, even if they aren't true. But the argument can be made that due to the co-following, due to how big and how large, the conglomerate of TDE is, releasing those people's name, even though they filed anonymously, that right there could bring those women, like third-party harm. And I think that's fair. And the judge agrees that that's the case because the judge would deny their motion to remove the doxing claim. The judge will say the court does not find that defendants revealing plaintiff's identity to the press is protected by the litigation privilege. Now, the conclusion in the order is, for the reasons stated, The court overrules defendant's demurrer and denies defendant special motion to strike the sixth cause of action, which is doxing. Further, the court orders defendants to file an answer or answers to the FAC on or about June 25th, 2025. Defendants shall provide a notice of the court's ruling and file the notice with a proof of service forthwith. TDE's first response to these allegations is they're baseless. This is BS. Man, cut it out, bro. We finna spank this. And it looks like so far, they have taken the first L. Okay, they've tried to remove something from the lawsuit, doxing. It didn't get removed. It actually got reinforced. So y'all let me know, man. All right, listen, I'm not casting judgment. Okay, is innocent until proven guilty. All right, so I'm not gonna cast judgment, man. But this don't look good. It looks very bad, to be honest with y'all, man. But y'all let me know in the comment section. What do you guys think of this? All right, do y'all believe that that TDE is guilty? Do y'all believe that this is like nothing but a shakedown? Let me know in the comment section. And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen, somewhere here, man, to find out what's going on with this really huge Snoop Dogg drama. I'm gonna see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.